What if the biggest threat to professional golf isn't coming from a rival tour or a lack of talent, but from the very plan that's supposed to save it? No one expected some of the biggest names in golf to challenge the man hired to lead the PGA Tour into a new era. Yet that's exactly what's unfolding behind the scenes. The debate isn't about prize money or another battle between competing tours. It's about who gets to shape the future of professional golf. Imagine a PGA Tour where the biggest opportunities are reserved for an elite group of players, while everyone else is left competing for fewer chances to reach the top. What was introduced as a bold vision for the future is now raising serious concerns among several major champions who believe it could permanently divide the game they helped build. The most surprising part? This vision was designed to strengthen the PGA Tour, not create a growing separation between its players. But what happens if the plan meant to protect professional golf ends up changing its identity instead? Some of golf's most accomplished champions are refusing to stay silent because they believe this decision could influence who earns opportunities, who holds the power, and what the PGA Tour will look like for the next generation. Before we get into it, let me know which city you're watching from in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy following the biggest stories shaping the future of golf. Because this fight is much bigger than most fans realize. Brian Rolap's challenge was never going to be simple. He wasn't just changing schedules or improving business operations. He was trying to redesign how professional golf competes in a modern sports world. His vision focused on making the PGA Tour more powerful, more valuable, and more attractive to fans and broadcasters. But every major change comes with one difficult question: who benefits the most? Because while executives see a stronger product, some players see a possible shift in power. His vision isn't a small adjustment to tournament schedules or prize money. It focuses on creating a more elite and competitive product by restructuring how professional golf operates at the highest level. That includes elevating marquee events, giving greater importance to elite competition, and building a system designed to showcase the biggest stars more consistently throughout the season. On paper, it sounds like exactly what modern professional golf needs. But the deeper players looked into the direction this vision could take, the more difficult questions began to emerge. If the PGA Tour becomes increasingly focused on its elite competitors, what happens to the players fighting to earn their place? And more importantly, can a system built around exclusivity truly represent everything the PGA Tour has stood for throughout its history? At first glance, Brian Rolap's vision sounds like a smart business decision. Golf fans want to see the biggest stars competing more often, broadcasters want premium events, and the PGA Tour wants to remain the gold standard of professional golf. But one part of this vision has started raising serious concerns among some of the game's most respected champions. The concern isn't about change itself, it's about what kind of change is being proposed. Many players fear that professional golf could slowly move toward an elite player model, where the gap between the top names and the rest of the field becomes larger than ever before. More exclusive tournaments, greater rewards for a select group of players, and fewer opportunities for others could fundamentally change how golfers earn their place at the highest level. Those questions have become impossible for some of golf's biggest names to ignore. The conversation surrounding Brian Rolap's vision is no longer limited to executives and boardrooms. Major champions are beginning to look beyond the promises of growth and asking what professional golf could lose in the process. Rory McIlroy represents the players who believe the future of golf must protect competition. For years, he has argued that the sport's value comes from the best players competing against each other, not from creating a system where opportunities become impossible to reach. Scotty Scheffler represents something even more important: the idea that performance should always come first. His rise was built on earning every opportunity, and that is exactly why changes toward exclusivity raise questions. Adam Scott's concern comes from experience. He believes players must have a meaningful voice when decisions are made that could reshape the sport they helped build. But the biggest concern isn't what happens to today's champions. They already have their legacy. The real question is, what happens to the next generation of golfers who are still fighting for their first opportunity, because every superstar in golf history started as someone nobody knew. But this is where the disagreement becomes bigger than Brian Rolapp's plan itself, because the champions are not asking whether golf should change. They are asking who gets protected when it does. The growing concern among major champions isn't really about resisting change. It's about protecting the idea that every player should have a fair opportunity to compete at the highest level. That is why one particular question continues to dominate the conversation. What happens when professional golf becomes an exclusive club? If the PGA Tour places greater emphasis on elite events and a select group of players, the gap between established stars and rising talent could become wider than ever before. Golf has always rewarded performance. Today's unknown player can become tomorrow's major champion simply by earning it on the course. An increasingly exclusive system threatens to make that journey far more difficult. Perhaps the biggest concern of all is that future stars may never receive the same opportunities that today's champions once had. The PGA Tour's greatest strength has always been its ability to reward merit over status. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Should the PGA Tour prioritize its biggest stars or continue giving every player a genuine chance to earn their place? Share your opinion in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth golf stories and analysis. Those concerns are shared by more than just a handful of players. As discussions surrounding the future of the PGA Tour continue to grow, several other major champions have raised important questions about what this vision could mean for the sport they have spent years competing in and helping elevate. Jordan Spieth understands better than most how quickly a young player can rise through the ranks when given the right opportunities. Any system that limits those opportunities risks changing one of golf's greatest strengths, its ability to reward talent regardless of reputation or experience. Justin Thomas has long been an advocate for player voices being heard when significant decisions shape the future of the tour. Structural changes should benefit professional golf as a whole rather than creating advantages for only a select group of competitors. Colin Morikawa represents a generation of players who earned their place by consistently performing under pressure. For rising talent hoping to follow a similar path, maintaining fair and accessible opportunities remains essential. What makes these concerns particularly significant is that they are coming from players who have already reached the highest levels of success. Their focus isn't on protecting their own careers, it's on preserving a system that gives future champions the same opportunity they once received. That shared concern reveals something even bigger than the future of today's major champions. The real question is whether tomorrow's stars will have the same opportunities that helped shape the legends of the PGA Tour. Every major champion started somewhere. None of them were handed guaranteed spots in elite events or protected by exclusive systems. They earned their place through performance, consistency, and perseverance. That pathway has always been one of the most respected traditions in professional golf. If elite tournaments become increasingly difficult to access and opportunities become concentrated among a smaller group of players, rising talent could face challenges previous generations never had to overcome. The next Rory McIlroy or Scottie Scheffler may still exist, but reaching golf's biggest stages could become significantly more complicated. The PGA Tour has always been built on the belief that great golf should create great opportunities. When opportunity becomes more exclusive, the sport risks losing one of its greatest strengths, its ability to discover future champions. After all, what if tomorrow's major champion never gets the chance to prove he belongs among the very best? For many players, this conversation is no longer about tournament formats or business strategies. It has become a discussion about who should have the greatest influence over the future of professional golf. The players who built the game's popularity or the executives tasked with reshaping it. Jon Rahm has consistently spoken about the importance of keeping golf competitive on a global scale. Any system that creates greater separation between players has the potential to affect not only the PGA Tour, but also the broader future of professional golf worldwide. Brooks Koepka understands better than most how quickly the landscape of professional golf can change. Having competed at the highest level across different tours, he recognizes the importance of preserving competition rather than creating structures that limit opportunities. Phil Mickelson's perspective may be the most significant of all. Throughout his career, he has never hesitated to challenge leadership when he believes players deserve a stronger voice. For him, the future of golf cannot be decided solely by business interests if it comes at the expense of player influence and competitive fairness. Together, these concerns make one thing clear. Golf's biggest champions are paying very close attention to where the PGA Tour is heading. The growing resistance from major champions becomes much easier to understand when considering what professional golf could look like if Brian Rolapp's vision is implemented without significant changes. The PGA Tour could become more exclusive than ever before. Elite events may receive greater attention, larger rewards, and increased influence over the sport's future. While that may create a stronger television product and generate greater commercial success, it could also widen the gap between golf's biggest stars and the players still fighting to reach the top. A system designed around elite competition inevitably raises difficult questions about access and opportunity. Will future champions be given the same pathways that today's stars once enjoyed? Will competitive merit remain the foundation of professional golf, or will exclusivity become part of the equation? Professional golf has always been at its best when every player believes greatness is something that can be earned, not something reserved for a chosen few. There is another possible outcome that many players would welcome: a PGA Tour that evolves without sacrificing the principles that made it successful in the first place. The major champions raising concerns are not arguing against progress. They understand that professional golf must continue to grow and adapt. Their position is much simpler. Growth should never come at the expense of opportunity, competitive fairness, and player influence. If their concerns are taken seriously, the PGA Tour could find a balance between modernization and merit-based competition. Future stars would still have meaningful pathways to elite events, while today's players would continue to have a voice in shaping the sport's direction. Brian Rolap was hired to strengthen the PGA Tour's future, and there is no question that professional golf must continue to evolve. But evolution becomes far more complicated when players begin to worry that opportunity may no longer be equal for everyone competing at the highest level. The future of the PGA Tour may not be decided by one meeting, one proposal, or one executive decision. It will be decided by whether professional golf can find a way to grow without losing the competitive pathway that created its greatest champions. Because the biggest risk isn't that golf changes. Golf has always changed. The real risk is that the next generation of champions never gets the same chance to rise. Now, I want to hear from you. If you had the final vote, would you support Brian Rolapp's vision for the PGA Tour or stand with the major champions? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more golf stories and analysis.